Do you want an hour-long video chock full of chicken recipes that you can feed your family that they will like, that will be on a budget because it's chicken? Chicken's like one of the most budget-friendly proteins we can start a meal with. I am here to bring you a massive chicken dinner making video. Grab a drink, take a seat, get comfortable, let's get cooking. We're gonna mix together our sauce for the Thai chicken and noodle dish. So to start out with, we will do 1 cup of broth. I have this chicken bone broth in my pantry, and this is 2 cups right here, so I'm just gonna use half of this. 1/4 cup of soy sauce. 3/4 of a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes, which is actually a good amount. Thai food to me is spicy more often than not. A good amount of that, generous. 3 cloves of garlic, or if you're more efficient, it's going to be this tube of garlic. I mean, it doesn't probably taste as good, but it is convenient, I tell you what. Into that, we will add 1 red bell pepper. Here we go. About 1.5 pounds of sliced chicken breast. Again, you can also use sliced turkey if you want to. You probably use steak if you want to. I'm just using chicken because I have it and it's cheap. Lid on, and let's cook on low for 3 to 4 hours.
3 hours later.
After my chicken is cooked for about 3 hours or so, I'm gonna add a couple more ingredients. In go a bunch of green onions, maybe 1/3 of a cup of peanut butter right there. In this recipe, do not use the natural peanut butter. It separates too much. Try and use the processed kind. Chunky or smooth, doesn't matter which. Smooth. And the rest of my chicken broth mixed with some cornstarch is gonna go in there. Lid back on, and let's stick this sucker on high for another 30 minutes till everything gets bubbly and comes together.
Meanwhile,
go ahead and cook up your favorite ramen noodles. I picked up these because they didn't have the seasoning packet. Of course, you can do the cheaper ones that do have the seasoning packet, but set that to the side and use it for something else because we do not want to do that. We just want plain ramen noodles. My pasta is cooking and almost ready. And let's check out our peanut butter thickened sauce. Oh, steam off camera. And it's about time to pull our pasta out and put the whole dish together. This is going to be the easiest recipe for wings you have ever done. And since I found some wings on clearance recently at my grocery store, we're gonna add the entire package of wings. Don't put that in there. So this is about 4 pounds of wings or so. I had originally frozen them, but they are now thawed and in my crock pot / slow cooker, to which I will add 2 more ingredients. 4 cups of salsa and 1/2 cup of brown sugar, and that is all. I'm using a combination. I have a couple open in my fridge. I have this one right here, and I don't think it's quite enough, so I will be opening this salsa verde as well. Okay, I ended up using all 3 jars that I had. Here we go. This is actually about 3 cups of salsa. It should be fine. Cooking doesn't have to be that serious. Now baking does have to be that serious, but cooking, not so much. Kind of want to make sure they're all covered a little bit. Brown sugar time. That is a problem. Good thing I buy stuff in bulk. There's a 1/4 cup and there's a 1/2 cup. 1/4 cup, so I had to do it twice. That is literally all that you do. Lid on, and let's make sure I don't mess up the timing of this one. Low for 5 to 6 hours, or high 2 to 3 hours. It has been 3 hours on high for my wings here, so we're just taking a little look-see. Just wanna make sure that they are cooked all the way through. Some of them look like they can go a little bit longer, so I think I'm gonna put the lid back on maybe for another hour. So maybe 4 hours is what we need on these wings. All right, I think they have definitely cooked long enough. Now what I'm gonna do is dump these into a baking sheet and stick them in the broiler for a few minutes in the oven, just because I definitely want them to be crispy. So let's do that now. Oh, those look beautiful. I love chicken because of its versatility, the way it can take on almost any flavor. It's good in almost any dinner, and most importantly, I can pretty much always get it for $2 a pound or less. So it fits the budget when you're trying to make dinner for your family. If you want more one-on-one coaching from me, like you and me together, on how to save a ton of money on food, groceries, how to meal plan, how to cook, and just overall finances in your family, check the link down below. I've got a new friend project that we're working on. It's you and me together. It's gonna be pretty epic. And I guarantee I can help you save hundreds of dollars a month. Hundreds. We are making a sheet pan dish I'm very excited about because it's easy and it's Cajun. So I've started with 6 ears of corn. They've been shucked, obviously, and cut into quarters. And this is big enough to feed 6 people, definitely. So you're gonna need 2 sheet pans for this. I have my oven preheating at 425 degrees. If you have convection, go ahead and do that. Now I have 1 pound of the mini sweet peppers, and you could cut these in half and take the seeds out, but I find that there's so few seeds anyway that, I mean, this is all about easy, speed. Look how beautiful these are already. I absolutely love looking at vegetables sometimes because of the gorgeous colors. Next up, I have some fresh thyme. What? Fresh thyme. If you get your hands on some of this, I usually like to keep it in my freezer. It does turn a little brown that way, but it's okay. I'm just gonna kind of pull some of the seeds like this and then just sprinkle the whole thing over that. This is definitely not fancy. We'll call that, what, persnickety? This is just like, get it on the pan, right? Next up, a little sprinkly dinkle of olive oil. Is that a weird word? Sprinkly dinkle? Well, you know, a healthy drizzle of olive oil here, mostly because this bottle does not have a small spout, so it just kind of globs out. And your favorite Cajun seasoning. Now, this is not my favorite one. My favorite is Uncle Tony's, but I did pick this one up on clearance a little bit ago because I love Cajun seasoning. So let's just use this one up. And we're gonna give it a generous teaspoon sprinkle on each pan, maybe a teaspoon and a half, you know, whatever. Get in there and mix it all together. Now we're gonna add our chicken. I have 6 pieces of boneless, skinless chicken breast, so I'm gonna kind of like spread out my veggies so they can kind of come in the middle here. Now I'm doing 3 pieces for each sheet pan here. The chicken will also have a little drizzle of olive oil and our Cajun seasoning. Now, depending on the brand that you use, you might have to add salt and pepper. Mine has salt in it already, so I will not add any salt here. Make sure you give it a little flipperoo, get both sides. If you're not familiar with Cajun food, they spice their foods heavily. Time to throw it into our oven for about 20 to 25 minutes or until everything's about done. You are so beautiful. Oh, to hear that sizzle, I love that. It's like they're excited to go to dinner. Are you ready for what we are going to do to these veggies? It's gonna be epic. Gonna be legendary. Just finished watching How I Met Your Mother, so the legendary thing is on my mind. So I'm taking the chicken out. You know, we have all this delicious sauce and everything, but we're gonna add another one. I'm gonna top the veggies with your favorite hot sauce. Now, since this is Cajun, Tabasco would have been the way to go, but I don't have any right now. I have Cholula, so that is what I will use. So just a little sprinkly sprinkle like this, and then toss all your veggies in that juice, the hot sauce, and now we can start plating. You could even dump all of this on a platter and let everyone just kind of pick their own. Oh, I might do that. Now that I'm thinking about it, that sounds like a good plan. So I'm just gonna do this big mixing bowl. And here comes all of my delicious veggies with the hot sauce. And I mean, you guys like onions? Throw some onions in there. You like cooked celery? Throw some celery in there. You can put in whatever veggies you want. And I'll sprinkle a little more Cholula on top of that. I mean, you could do sriracha, you could do whatever. And if you've got a lot of kids that don't wanna dig into that kind of stuff, just serve it at the table and let people do their own. I have in this bowl several stalks of celery, the remainder of the carrots that I had in my fridge, and like 2 or 3 chopped onions. My kids are rinsing off russet potatoes outside right now. We're gonna add those as well. So when I cooked my chicken, I ended up with some homemade chicken broth, which is what I will use to pour into my pan. I'm gonna dump these in my pot right over there. Okay, this is looking pretty good to me. So I'm gonna add my chicken. It's probably about 4 or 5 cups of cooked chicken. You can cook it any way you like. I do like to add some butter for richness. There's seriously no measurements when it comes to this recipe, honestly. It's however much I decide to throw in here and however much ends up in here. So I'm just doing a stick because this is a lot. I usually have heavy whipping cream, but I don't today. So we're gonna go with half and half instead, which is also fine. Give it some richness as well. A little bit more pepper. And let me go get my other veggies and toss those in. Little stir to get that butter melting, and I will be right back with my other canned veggies. Some canned peas, a 28-ounce can, and I drained it already. This I found is really the only good use for canned peas. Otherwise they're mush. And I have this like green beans with some shelled beans in here. I don't know what that's about, but we're gonna throw that in too. I've used all kinds of vegetables in here, anything from broccoli to asparagus to sugar snap peas. Basically whatever vegetables you like are going to work in here. So we're gonna stir all this around, taste for salt and pepper. And if it still seems a little thin, like it's a touch liquidy to me, I might add a little bit of dehydrated potatoes just to thicken it a hair before I dump it into my freezer meal pans. Way more salt, a little bit more pepper too. This is like, I mean, this is a ton of filling here. And I am gonna just sprinkle a little bit of the dehydrated potatoes, not very much, to thicken it a little bit more, and then we will pour it into our pans and see what we have. Just make sure when you're doing this, just taste it before you actually make the pie, and make sure your salt and pepper levels are good, because I needed more salt. We are now gonna make my favorite pie crust recipe ever. I will have a link to the recipe on my website. The key to this pie crust is the vinegar and the use of butter flavored shortening. It makes it really easy to work with. The shortening does. Butter can be so difficult to work with in a pie crust. The butter flavor makes it taste good, and the vinegar helps it to be like super flaky and tender. I have tried so many pie crusts trying to find like the perfect one that tasted good and was easy to work with, and this is the winner. I shared it with my stepmom, who fell in love with it also, and now this is the only one I use for anything. It's really easy to put together, although it does make a little bit of a mess. And I took my standard recipe and divvied it up into 3 really small amounts to put into my 3 pans. And I only did a top crust and not a bottom crust. And then I moved on to my chicken enchiladas. This is a recipe I got from my sister-in-law way back, like early on in my marriage. And it is one of the few recipes that I do that calls for cream of whatever soup. So this one's cream of mushroom soup, and I am tripling it, which is why you see 3 cans here. This is the topping I'm mixing up with the sour cream, the milk, and the green chilies. I had gotten a huge can of just whole green chilies and chopped them up myself. And you just mix all that together, and that's gonna be like your enchilada sauce. It's kind of like a sour cream chicken enchilada with some cream cheese in the filling with the chicken. It's really delicious. If you have some of these ingredients just around, maybe give it a try anyway. After I did the topping, I mixed up the filling for the chicken enchiladas, which is cream cheese, some spices, and the chicken. 6 cups of chicken for the filling for my 3 batches of chicken enchiladas. And I'm using my little hand mixer again to mix this all up. And then I'm adding in some sauteed onions and green chilies that I sauteed in some butter. The depth of flavor that adds is really nice, so I recommend not skipping that step. And then you just fill it up like normal enchiladas. You see a couple holes in my tortillas because they ripped a little as I was separating them out. I'm not the best at that. And filled up all of my freezer tin meal tray thingies. Poured my sauce or my topping all over the top, and then topped all of them with cheese. I dislike making enchiladas most of the time because they're so time consuming, but I really enjoyed making 3 batches at once and having it ready for later. This is essentially a chicken and veggies dish. You could use whatever cut of chicken. I'm using thighs because I love thighs. I just think the dark meat flavor is so delicious. And you can use whatever veggies you want. Turn it aside, keep the skin, don't keep the skin. It feels like I'm not keeping the skin. Just because it pulled off so easy. So there's 6 thighs in here. So this, in theory, could feed a family of 6, although my kids really like to eat 2 thighs per person because this is a pretty small serving, depending on the side dishes that you serve. If you were to bump this up with a serving of rice or bread or salad or something like that, I think you could probably get away with feeding 6 people. Otherwise, I would say this one would feed 4, I think. And I have my oven preheating at 425 right now. Those skins just like pulled right off. These do have the bones in them, so you don't need to worry about overcooking this chicken. It's not going to get dried out or anything, which is another reason I love dark meat, is because it's really hard to mess it up. Maybe I'll just move all my chicken to one side and all my veggies will come over here. So I have my 3 bell peppers that I just chopped up. That is a lot, isn't it? It'll be fine. Also, I'm gonna use this, woo! I just threw it on the floor, oops. This broccoli and cauliflower mix right here. Some of these are really big, look how huge that is. Just cut that in half. Now, at this point, you're basically just adding your favorite seasoning. And I'm using a pre-mixed seasoning packet today. I found this one at Ross and it's been sitting in my pantry and I need to use it, so here we are. But you can just use salt and pepper. If you use enough salt, it'll taste perfectly good. You can use a Mrs. Dash kind of thing. You could use Uncle Tony's. You could do just whatever. So I'm gonna give this a good drizzle of oil so my flavoring will stick. There is salt in this. I'm just double checking. There's quite a bit of salt in this, so I don't need to add extra salt. 425 for 20 to 30 minutes, depending on your oven. Okay, update on the sheet pan dinner. I ended up separating these because my chicken thighs are taking a very long time to cook and my veggies are about done. So the veggies are coming out. I still want them to be like a little like cooked, but slightly crunchy. You know, I don't want them to be mush, you know what I mean? So here are my roasted veggies. Those are coming out, they look delicious. And I'm gonna leave my thighs in, I don't know, another 10 minutes. They are really taking a long time. Bye-bye, thighs. What I love about sheet pan dinners is that they're so dang easy. Like, this is one of the easiest things that you can put together. Today we are making gumbo. I have procured bone-in chicken thighs, some sausage, and some shrimp. Over here, I'm working on my roux, which is the base of gumbo. I have a half a cup of flour, to which I will add a half a cup of bacon fat, but I'm not gonna cook it on the stovetop. I'm cooking it in the oven because it's the easier way of doing it. Kind of amazing. Okay, so there goes my bacon fat. It's very hands-off, although you do need to be in the house. Okay, friends, this is 1 hour into it. This is what the roux looks like. This is only my second time to stir it. So this is looking pretty dark, actually. My mom would say, not dark enough. At the bare minimum, it needs to be the color of peanut butter. So we are darker than that, so we're on a good track. But my mom also says it needs to be the color of a dirty penny. Okay, friends, I think we are here. Pretty dark. My mom would probably go darker than that, but it's been about 1 hour and 40 minutes. And I think that looks pretty good. For color reference, here's the peanut butter. I'm definitely darker than the peanut butter. And at this point, you can stop. You don't have to keep going. You could actually make this the day before, the week before, put it in the fridge, and continue the gumbo later. So because it's only 11:15 in the morning, I'm gonna let this sit for a few hours and we will come back and finish cooking a little bit later. It is a few hours later and I am ready to get going. So I turned my burner on, so this is warming up a little bit. And here are my veggies. I have an assortment of bell peppers, garlic, a couple jalapenos, onion, and celery. Celery, onion, and bell peppers are the holy trinity, so you always start Cajun meals with. Everything else after that is kind of like loose and open for interpretation. Just like every family has a different recipe for chili, every family from Louisiana has a different recipe for gumbo. This is my mother's and my grandmother's. Saute my veggies in here. Oh yeah, it is totally warm. I'll scrape that in a second. Okay, it's a ton of veggies. I will saute the veggies in the roux just for a few minutes to get all the flavors moving together. And then we will add remainder of our ingredients and let this simmer. Look at these gorgeous colors. Next up, I have 8 cups of chicken broth coming in hot. Oh my gosh. Well, I gotta scrape that. 2 bay leaves. Enough Tonys to make you cough. How much is enough? Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Wide open. Ooh, I'm not left-handed. This feels dangerous. And the chicken also goes in. I do like to put the chicken thighs in here, just like on the bone, all the skin, all of it. So they'll boil in here and get a lot of that flavor out. And then once the chicken is cooked through, I'll pull these out and then pull the skin and bones off and like debone the chicken and put the chicken back. But for now, we will simmer this all together until the chicken is cooked through. Sausage time. You can use any kind you want. If you can get your hands on some Louisiana sausage, that would be perfecto. And Dewey is great. Just some kind of smoked sausage. I'm already very, very excited to eat this in a little bit. Yum. Now, you can stop right here. My mom would frequently make chicken and sausage gumbo frequently, but I mean, I want to take it up a notch or 3. We can add shrimp. I love shrimp and gumbo. It's an awesome use for it. I have this large 2-pound bag that's been thawing out. I will rinse this off, get all the like liquidy junk out of here. And I do like to add a bottle of clam juice also. You can usually find it by the canned tuna in your grocery store. So if you're not into seafood, leave these out. It'll be fine just the way it is my clam juice, and it goes, and my shrimp. The shrimp do not need very long. My rice is almost done right over here. We went old school in a pot. No Instant Pot over here. Oh my gosh, look at this goodness. This is chock full of deliciousness. My rice is perfect, you guys. Like rice on the stove, you don't need an Instant Pot or a rice cooker to make awesome rice. Look at this huge pot of rice. Look at the beauty of this bowl. So if I was gonna make these taquitos fresh, like right now, I would just spray the top with some cooking spray and stick them right in the oven for 15 minutes. But as it is, I'm going to freeze them, and so when it comes time to cook, it'll be 25 minutes instead of 15. Still super fast, and then there's no prep work. I think this is a great option because every time I've made these, everybody raves about them. They're like, oh, I don't know, and then they take a bite and they say, wow, these are delicious. If you do nothing else from this video except make these taquitos, I would say that would be worth watching the video. 2/3 cup of cream cheese. You have no idea how much that is. Okay, that does not look like very much. I feel like I might need to triple this. Okay, I'm gonna triple this and use a bigger bowl. Is that overkill? that looks like a lot. Okay, 1 cup, which I think is this entire thing. 1 cup of soft cream cheese. I have a big family, they eat a lot. I made this for a family reunion once. I made up the filling and put it in a Tupperware and took it to the family reunion and then just rolled them up with the tortillas last minute and popped them in the oven for 15 minutes for lunch, like a lunch with fruit for about 30 people. Such a hit. 3/4 of a cup of salsa. I am using this guac salsa right here. Oh yeah. If you don't like guacamole, then regular salsa is probably okay. But I love guacamole, so. Salsa and cream cheese, what else do you need? Oh my gosh, I just had a great idea for like a cream cheese salsa chicken dish. Okay, focus on what I'm doing. Lime juice, I'll squeeze 2 limes in here with my citrus juicer. I love this guy. If you guys don't have one of these, I'll leave it down below. It's one of those things that like I never thought I knew I needed. Wow, these are very juicy limes. Okay, maybe I'll go with 2 or 2 halves. Maybe I'll go with 1 whole one and then see kind of how it feels. Cumin, onion powder, garlic powder. And we'll go with 1.5 teaspoons of each. Heaping is probably okay. I love cumin. I love the smokiness of it. Now some chili powder, not too much. Okay, time to put chili powder on the list. 1 tablespoon of chili powder. Remember, I'm tripling this. It calls for some green onion, which I don't have, so we won't do that. And fresh cilantro, which I rinsed in my salad spinner. If you guys don't have one of these yet, I love it. It's so sturdy. I'm having a hard time breaking it, which is great because I've broken every other one I've ever had. Chop up this cilantro. I'll just do 1 whole bunch in here. Oh yeah. I didn't used to like cilantro, but I don't know. My taste buds matured, I guess. I like it now. Because I'm tripling this, we're gonna put in 6 cups of chicken. Still feel like I need more cream cheese, but we'll kind of see what it looks like once I mix it up. Okay, that's like 4, that's probably good. And 3 cups of pepper jack cheese. You can use whatever cheese you like, but my family likes pepper jack quite a bit. So this was just a block that I shredded up with a food processor. Makes it so easy. Okay, 3 cups-ish of cheese, there we go. And we will mix this up. And if it looks kind of dry, we'll add more stuff. I think I will add the rest of the lime. Yeah. So it looks like this right now. So just a hair dry. We're gonna add more lime and I think some more salsa. This time I'm gonna go just with your standard paste picante. Just a little bit. Maybe 1/4 of a cup, 1/3 of a cup, somewhere in there. This is what the filling looks like. And I'm gonna scoop it in my tortillas and roll them up. I have these huge tortillas and these smaller ones, and whatever is fine. If you use the big ones, I would recommend maybe chopping them in half just because they're really, really large. So we'll just start with one and see where we go and see how many we end up with. 2 pans of the chicken taquitos at 6 each. I ended up using the huge tortillas. Look how big these are. A whole lasagna noodle would fit this length of this. So these are really, really large. Seal these tight with saran wrap foil, put the instructions on top and stick these in the freezer. Can't go much cheaper than a pack of bone-in family-sized chicken. This one ended up being 99 cents a pound, and I've even seen it cheaper than that, but I have bone-in chicken breasts here. And you also can't go much cheaper than a potato. We're spicing it up a little bit by using sweet potatoes. If you're not into sweet potatoes, you can of course use regular ones, but today we are making Peruvian spicy chicken and sweet potatoes. So I have two quite large sweet potatoes. It's about 1.5 pounds. We're just gonna peel these, dice them into cubes. Now the instructions in my recipe, which I got from America's Test Kitchen, slow cooker cookbook, is to cook these in the microwave for like 10 minutes with some salt and pepper and oil. I'm assuming it's so you can get dinner on the table a little bit quicker. You know what? We're just gonna follow the instructions and see how it goes. So once I peel these and dice these, they're going to go into the microwave. My sweet potatoes with oil, salt, and pepper is covered in the microwave, and this is supposed to cook for 10 minutes. Boom. I have this spice, oil, salt, pepper, jalapeno mixture that I am putting on my 4 chicken breasts. I'm gonna rub all this on. I did take the skins off of the chicken breast, but these are bone in. They will cook better in a crock pot than the bone off. I find the other ones get kind of crumbly or whatever. This mixture just has, the recipe said habanero, but I already had jalapenos from my garden, so I went ahead and did that instead. But it's jalapeno, garlic, lime zest, lime juice, paprika, cumin, oregano, salt, and pepper. And then you're supposed to microwave it for just a little bit, which I did, which is why I'm not touching it. Well, and also because there's jalapeno on here and I don't want to burn my fingers. So I'm just kind of spreading this on here. My sweet potatoes are done from the microwave, so now it is time to build everything in the crock pot. And I gotta tell you, the amount of like fresh ingredients and spices in this, I'm actually very, very excited to eat it. It looks amazing. In my crock pot, it's time to put everything. Here are my sweet potatoes that were microwaved, and it is hot, holy moly. And on top of that goes all of our chicken. And I'm gonna try and put them in such a way that they are not on top of each other, but these are the hugest chicken breasts ever. Holy cow. Or holy chicken in this case. There we go. I mean, they're kind of overlapping, but oh well. I think this is a 6-quart crock pot, so as you can see, this is a ton. Lid on, cook on high for 3 hours. I'll see you then. Oh, it's beautiful. It definitely feels like it's cooked all the way through. I have this nice sauce, my potatoes in the bottom, so let's plate some of this and make a delicious sauce to go on top of it. To make our sauce, I have a 1/2 cup of mayo right here, about a teaspoon of sugar, some more lime zest, and the juice of approximately 1/2 a lime. And we'll kind of mix that together. I feel like a whisk would make more sense. I think we're gonna go with the juice of an entire lime, some salt and pepper, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper. Mix one more time. There we go. And we can drizzle our sauce on the chicken and potatoes. Here we go. This is a huge amount of chicken. Absolutely enormous. And I don't know why I have not thought about cooking sweet potatoes in my crock pot more often, but I really should. Because this chicken is so big, I think if you added a salad and like a roll, each chicken breast could feed at least 2 people, if not 3 people. And then you could definitely feed 6 to 8 people with this meal. The cost breakdown for the meal as it sits is here, a pretty budget-friendly meal. It's just chicken and potatoes, but it's a little fancy because of the things that we added. This is a dish that I don't make a ton, and in retrospect, I should make a lot more often, but it's basically a play on like a chicken tortilla soup. And today we're gonna cook it in my off-brand 8-quart Instant Pot, but I normally do it on the stove. You can do it on the stove in a soup pot, no sweat, or in a crock pot, you just cook it for longer. It's really easy. I'm starting with a couple of chicken breasts, and we're gonna top those with some taco seasoning. Other cast of characters that we're gonna need today are beans. I have a couple of onions that have been in my fridge for I don't know how long, so we're gonna get these out of there. A little bit of garlic, couple of limes, some chicken broth, and we're gonna use, focus on the cubes. We're gonna use the cubes because we're classy like that. Oh, and we're gonna throw them all over the floor because why not? Okay, a couple of spices, taco seasoning just for the chicken. It's just a quick like flavoring. Some ground cumin, some chili powder. And if there's anything else, I will tell you as we go. First thing I am going to do is turn on my Instant Pot. Actually, this is a Sinfonio brand, but I find that the off-brand ones work about the same. The lid is the same, it sticks on the side the same. They're the same. So if you want to get a cheaper one or you see a cheaper one, don't feel scared, you can go ahead and get it. Also, remember to plug it in. It works a lot better that way. So I want to turn my Instant Pot on saute because I'm going to sear the chicken in here and just cook everything in a one-pot meal like this. It is warming up, and while it does that, let's get our chicken all seasoned, get some kind of fat for the bottom of this, and sear off all of our chicken. I have 8 really small chicken breasts here, and I'm just gonna use some taco seasoning that I have in my cabinet. If you don't wanna use taco seasoning, salt and pepper would be just fine. You just wanna season your chicken in some way. So when I make this on the stove, I typically sear it in a pan and then pull it out and then chop it into chunks, and I'll do it a little differently today. I have a bunch of bacon fat. I do store it in my fridge, lasts forever, just like my grandma taught me. And I put seasoned side down, and once I'm there, I will season the other side. I did 2 batches to get all the chicken breasts in, but it didn't take that long. One of my favorite ways to cut up garlic is actually to use the microplane because it makes these teeny tiny pieces of garlic, smallest I've ever seen. And so you'll get the flavor, but not the huge chunks of garlic, which is really good for my mom who doesn't like a ton of garlic. So I took the chicken out, added in all of my onions and garlic. You can use as much or as little as you like here. I happen to like onions and garlic a lot, so I like using a lot. Kind of scrape the bottom of the pan with those and then add in your chicken broth. I ended up using 6 cups of this, and we're gonna do a tiny sprinkle of cayenne pepper, as many beans as you like. This was probably the equivalent of 2.5 cans of beans, and I wish I had done more. I wish there were more of that in there, so that's totally up to you. Half a teaspoon of chili powder, half a teaspoon of ground cumin, and the squeeze of a couple of limes. I ended up using 2 full limes in here, and that little lime juicer thingy is one of my favorite things ever. And I'm gonna throw all my chicken just whole right back in the pot because I wanted it to finish cooking in here, and I was planning on serving it a whole chicken breast per person. Of course, remember, these are not very big, and then they ended up shredding beautifully on their own just with a spoon when we were done. Remember, the great thing about recipes is that you can change them to whatever you like. So if you want to use a different meat or not as many onions or whatever, that's totally up to you. Everything is in our pot, and it's time to put the lid on and turn it to soup. Oh, first time. Usually it's hard to do that. Make sure it is on seal over here. Soup on this one is 30 minutes at high pressure. Let's see how this is going. Any day now would be great. There it is. You guys know that these holes right here are to put your lid. For me, this is a little on the soupy side, but that's because I prefer a heartier soup, more of a stew than a soup. But it is fine the way that it is. A couple ways you can thicken this is to add some refried beans, add extra beans. I can get a potato masher and I can mash up the beans that are in here a little bit. That'll thicken it up. You could even do like cornstarch, although I've never done that. You can put this on saute again and just boil it for a minute, and that'll thicken it up nicely. And remember that I haven't cut the chicken into chunks yet. Usually I'll pull these out and chunk them up and stick them back in here. But today I think I'm gonna just serve the whole chicken breast in the bowl for everybody. And then once it's time to serve, you can top it with kind of whatever you want. But our favorites are avocado, cilantro, cheese, pepper jack cheese is the best, and some tortilla chips and extra limes on the side. This is legit the easiest meal ever. There are 3 ingredients. I have, not tongs, right there. I have a freezer gallon bag in a pitcher. I have tried those like freezer baggie holder guys, but I find them a little flimsy and tippy. So back to the pitcher it is. So I'm gonna put in about 2.5 pounds of chicken drumsticks, dark meat on the bone, thighs, wings, and legs are superior. They cook better, they don't dry out. I mean, you can use like breasts or tenders if you want, but since we are cooking these in the crock pot, the texture is gonna be way different. That's like about half. I'll go a few more. My kids could definitely eat 2 each of these, so we wanna make sure we have enough. Next up is to use the barbecue rub, dry rub of your choice. You can, of course, make your own. I will not be doing that because I have this mix and I just wanna use it up. And it does have salt in it, so I do not need to add extra salt. I'm just gonna go ahead and put the remainder of this in here. A lemon pepper is really good. I've done that before. At this stage, we're going to just give it a shakeroo, like shake and bake chicken. Okay, once that's done, top it with your favorite barbecue sauce. I have 2 open ones in my fridge that I'm trying to like get down. So I have this Sweet Baby Ray's and then this Primal Kitchen Barbecue Classic. And if I didn't have enough, I had this mango jalapeno barbecue sauce as well. Just trying to use these up, and you pour some of these in as well. Maybe I should. A little bit of that. You guys remember those old Heinz ketchup glass bottle commercials? Because ketchup only came in glass bottles. Fun story, I was at a restaurant once and I opened one of those. After shaking it, I was probably 9 and it exploded all over my face and everyone laughed at me. And my biggest fear back then when I was like 8 or 9 was to be laughed at. So it was a horrible experience for me. I would say at least a cup of barbecue sauce, just your favorite one, it doesn't matter which flavor you're using, that is not a cup. Kitchen pro tip, barbecue sauce on anything makes it better. Barbecue sauce is just delicious. Wow, yum. Put some of that in there also. When it comes time to cook and you put this in the crock pot, you will want to put a little bit more barbecue, maybe a little bit of water, just to give it something to hang on to. That's it. Lay it flat and freeze it, and we're done. Let's use up the rest of my drumsticks, and we're gonna make some Asian sesame chicken drumsticks marinade. I'm kicking it off with 1/3 of a cup. I know this is a 2/3, but I have a 1/3 measurement, and I need 1/3 of a cup of oil and then 1/3 of a cup of rice vinegar, so I will use the little guide on the side. So I'm starting with 1/3 of a cup of avocado oil. You can use this or peanut oil. It's more mild than olive oil, so it won't have that tang since we're doing a more Asian flavor. Okay, so 1/3 of a cup of rice vinegar. Also, so this will take it up to the top, and oh my gosh, I am out of that. Okay, that goes on the shopping list. Just enough. I need 1/4 cup of soy sauce. I'm gonna use these coconut aminos because they have been sitting in my pantry for a while, so I do wanna use these up. How cute is this little measuring spoon cup thing? 1/4 cup of that. And because this is so salty, you won't need to add salt to this. 3 tablespoons of honey, I will eyeball that. And now it's on my hand. 1 teaspoon of sesame oil. This stuff is strong. A little eyeball on that one. And I will also add a little bit of garlic and ginger just because I like those flavors a lot. So that's like a tablespoon of garlic. And I have this squeezy guy of ginger as well. So maybe a teaspoon of that. A little mix to get it all together. And this goes into our Ziploc bag of drumsticks. I have about 2 to 2.5 pounds of drumsticks for this. Oh no, I lost him. Here are my chicken drumsticks labeled like always, and in goes my marinade. And I like to use a spatula to make sure you get every last bit of that deliciousness in there. Can you believe how easy that was? You can cook this however you want. You can grill it, you can slow cook it, like crock pot it, instant pot, bake it, whatever you want. My favorite ways are the crock pot and the grill. For this cilantro lime marinade, we will start with 1/2 cup of olive oil or avocado oil, whichever you prefer, and then go into the zest and juice of 2 limes. Crushed red pepper flakes to your preference. I like it, so I'm gonna go like 1/2 teaspoon. And this is my hack. Because I don't want to chop cilantro, I'm gonna use this paste stuff. And you need a good amount of it, so this probably half this tube, I would imagine. Yeah. Look at that, I don't have to chop anything. Garlic paste also, don't have to chop any of that. The equivalent of 2 garlic cloves. That's probably 5, but it's fine. We love garlic here. Some ground cumin, about a teaspoon. We do need some salt in here, about a teaspoon of that, and since this is a grinder, I'm just gonna guess. What time is it? Yes. Time to whisk it real good. All right, that is our cilantro lime sauce, marinade, whatever. I have about 2 pounds of chicken tenders in here. You could also use boneless, skinless chicken breast. You can use whatever you want. Okay, that goes right in. Can you believe how quickly I am ripping through these? Hardest part is making sure you have all the ingredients. Thaw and grill and use however you like. In a burrito, in a taco bowl, with your fingers, whatever. This next one is one of my absolute favorite chicken marinades. I stumbled across / tweaked this one way back when I was like 26 or 27 or something like that. So in my mixing bowl, I'm making up, oh, you can't see that. My marinade, I have the juice of 4 lemons with the zest, and I'm supposed to add 1 cup of mustard. And I ran out and I looked in my food storage. This is the only mustard I have left, this like sweet hot mustard. So we're just gonna go with it. 1 full cup of mustard. It's one of the main flavors of our marinade. So obviously if you don't like mustard, you probably wouldn't, you wouldn't like this dish. Okay, our 1 cup of mustard is going into my mixing bowl as well. About a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. So that's about that many. It's a good amount, so if you don't like spice, maybe pull back a little bit. But this is gonna go over basically this entire package of chicken thighs. Now I love to do this with chicken thighs on the bone, but I just figured these would cook a little bit faster, so I went with the boneless, skinless chicken thighs today. And 2 tablespoons of chopped rosemary. I have this dried crushed, but the recipe is for fresh. So I'm gonna cut it back to like half of that. So 1 tablespoon goes right in there. I'm gonna add about 1 to 2 tablespoons of olive oil to this just to loosen it up a hair. We're gonna give it a wang jangle. So before I put all of this together, I will put some salt on the chicken because there's not really much in the marinade. So just giving this a quick little grind. I'm trying to use up the rest of this grinder here. So let's put as much of this in here as we can. I'd like to do all of it, but I might not get to all of it. Most of it. I like these bags, these Great Value ones. They're cut differently on the bottom, so they stand up really nicely on the counter. Nice design change. Okay, my marinade is going in. I made this chicken for a party once a long time ago with my friends. They still talk about it. They were like, what was that mustard rosemary chicken you made that was so delicious? This is it. Okay, I think I can add all of it. Sweet. Obviously, because this is like it's like 4 pounds of chicken thighs. This will feed a crowd, and it's really easy to like double, triple, cut in half, whatever, to fit your family size. So getting all the air out of this, and you're done. Just like the other one, this is a grill when you're finished. Serve it with whatever sides you want. Your family will love you. For our Southwest chicken tender marinade, I have 1/3 cup of vinegar. You can use apple cider or white vinegar, and 1/3 cup of olive oil or avocado oil, your call. Coming up next, we have some more cilantro, and I'm just gonna squeeze like a tablespoon. These little tubes make marinade making so quick. 2 teaspoons of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, which is excellent because I am really getting close to finishing this. 1 teaspoon of oregano. I'm gonna go maybe a half because Dave doesn't love this flavor to be overpowering, so I'm gonna go half a teaspoon. Of course, you can always go with your family's preferences as well when it comes to flavors that you like or don't like. 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 teaspoon of salt, a half to 1 teaspoon of black pepper. And this is my little baby whisk trying to mix this together. Look at that color, isn't that amazing? This will go on about 2 pounds of chicken tenders. You could use chicken breast if you wanted, or a thigh. I will use up the remaining chicken tenders that I have for this. So make sure you write on your bag what it is, even though you think you're gonna remember, you won't. You could, of course, mix the marinade just in the bag. You don't have to put it in a bowl like I am, but it's a lot harder to film with the camera, putting it in a bag so you can see it well, so that's why I'm doing it in a separate bowl, but you could just do it all in one container like this and then really have no dirty dishes at all. Okay, Southwest vinaigrette marinade going in. Make sure everything is coated, pop that in the freezer. And cooking options here, you could grill this or you can bake this in the oven. I personally would put this on a salad, topped with like avocado and cheese and tortilla chips. That would be just amazing. This Zesty Italian chicken starts with an entire bottle of Zesty Italian dressing. I tried to find a different brand, but Kraft was the only one that said Zesty on the front, so I figured this was the one we had to use. The entire bottle. Wow. Next up is 1 packet of ranch dressing. Whole thing goes right in, and because of the dressing and the ranch, we do not need to add salt to this, but I will throw in about a teaspoon of garlic powder, 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. The cheap shaky stuff is fine. I'm eyeballing a little. That might have been 3 or 4. It's all good. When you make marinade, sometimes you measure with your heart. Give it a whisk. Yeah. Don't worry, the chunks are the Parmesan cheese. It'll be fine. Set that to the side and let's get our chicken in our Ziploc bag. I have my pitcher holder with my bag. It is labeled with Zesty Italian chicken right on it. And you can put in 4 to 6 full chicken breasts. I have tenders here, so let's just do about 2 pounds, which is almost this entire package, but not quite. And when it comes time to cook this, you will just thaw it from your freezer and grill it. Our marinade goes right in, just like that. Try not to make a mess like I'm doing. Oh, I think I did not spill it on the outside. Okay, good. That's it. That is it. Lay it flat to freeze and another one down. My lemon garlic chicken starts with a half a cup of olive oil and the juice and zest of 2 lemons, which is about a 1/4 cup or so. Up next, I have 4 cloves of garlic. Again, going in with my squeezy garlic, and I'm really just eyeballing that. Now, instead of rosemary like the other dish, we will use this thyme. And I keep this in the freezer so it lasts forever. I'm just gonna dump that whole thing in there and let it sit marinating in the whole thing. And then when it comes time to grill or cook your chicken however you want, you can pull the sticks out and the leaves will have fallen off at that point. Makes it way easier. 1 teaspoon of salt is going in. Another big teaspoon of black pepper. You could do half a teaspoon if you don't jive on quite that much pepper. And that is literally it. This one is so, well, listen, all of these are easy. I'm just gonna mush the thyme in there a little bit. And then once I get this in the bag with the chicken, I will massage it in a little bit, try and get these leaves to fall off. These are chicken breasts that I cut smaller so they kind of look like tenders, but they're not. I just want them to cook a little faster. Let's see if I can do this without making a mess. Oh yeah. And just a little massage so I can get that thyme kind of all over the chicken. And that's it. Friends, these will literally be the easiest chicken wings you ever make in your life. I have the rack right here, 1 cup of water at the bottom. I put all of the chicken wings, I just dumped them in here, covered them with salt and pepper. That's all you have to do. So this is step 1, and I'm going to put the lid on. Quick reminder to check the sealing ring that it's in all the way. Lid on. Make sure this is on lock. Oh, you can see my camera in reflection. On manual, we are going to do a cook time of 5 minutes on, and then a full natural release, which means we just let it like release on its own, which will take about 15 minutes or so. Then the last step, I mean, you're gonna have wings in like less than 30 minutes from raw to done to wings. I love chicken wings. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Chicken wings are done in the Instant Pot. So what we're gonna do now is pull these out into a large mixing bowl, pat them dry, and we will toss them with our sauce. You can use whatever sauce you want, buffalo sauce. Today I am going to be using just a traditional barbecue sauce because I like barbecue wings personally, but you can do whatever you want. It's gonna be delicious. Oh my gosh. Listen, are you even cooking? If you don't do this. And when I was putting these in here with the tongs, I flipped some of the hot juice onto my lip. So now my lip is burnt. Oh my gosh. Cook like Christine. You could just make messes everywhere. Okay, so we want about a half a cup-ish. We just want a little, that's probably more than half a cup. We just want to coat our wings with whatever sauce you choose. I'm doing BBQ, and then wait until you see what we do next. It's gonna be so good. Of course, you know I picked the spicy one. Okay, check it. We're going to, quote, fry these in our air fryer. Are you dying right now? If you don't have an air fryer, you can totally do this in your oven as well, just on a cookie sheet. But I'm obsessed with my air fryer. I absolutely love it. Get that in there. And we're gonna go like 5 to 10 minutes in here. I like the preheat button because it automatically sets it for 5. I feel like it's really convenient, and then we can check it in 5 minutes. 5 minutes is up. What do we think? I think we could get a little more glazy on that. So let's go preheat one more time for another 5 minutes. That is 10 minutes, and I think so perfect. Oh my gosh. When it comes to your chicken in your Instant Pot is flavoring your chicken, and that's about it. When it comes to seasoning chicken, you can kind of do whatever you want. I think I'm gonna be doing a little bit of olive oil today. I'm just trying to loosen up the skin. Some of my favorite flavors for chicken are rosemary and thyme. I just think they're delicious. So I'm gonna do a really basic rosemary, thyme, salt, pepper situation on here, and then we're gonna stick it in the Instant Pot. You'll be amazed at how quick this comes together. And then once you have basically kind of like a rotisserie chicken, you can do whatever you would have done with a rotisserie chicken. Here is my oil coming on. You don't need a ton because the skin has quite a bit of fat. I have this crushed rosemary. I'm gonna go all over the top. If I can pop this up a little on the inside as well. Some thyme. I think powdered thyme would be better so you don't get those like woody pieces, you know, but this will be okay. I love thyme in chicken soups, chicken and rice casseroles. I just think, like, to me, the flavor of thyme and the smell of it equals chicken. Try and get a little bit of that under the skin. Next up is gonna be some salt. I'm just using some thick kosher salt right here. Nice generous amount like that. And of course, the people want the pepper. That is a beautiful chicken. I'm using an 8-quart Instant Pot today, and I'm putting my little rack on there just like that. I might use a smaller one. Let me go find the shorter one. Okay, I found this one. I think this is for my air fryer, but it'll work in here just fine. I think this is the steamer basket, so we'll set that to the side and we will use this rack to keep it up off the bottom. I'm gonna put in some chicken broth in the bottom instead of water. There we go, that's only 1 cup. You don't need that much. You just don't want the bottom to burn or anything. I'm about to put my chicken in, and it occurred to me that I have a bunch of lemons in my fridge that kind of need to be used up. So I'm gonna stick these lemons here in the cavity. I don't know how many I can fit. This is not a huge chicken. There's 1 whole lemon. Okay, I think I could fit 2 whole lemons in there. See, just to kind of flavor it from the inside. Time to go into our pot. Here comes the whole chicken, just like that. Remember, this is the 8-quart. I don't think it would fit in a 6. It would be really, really tight. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Lid goes on, and to cook a chicken like this, you wanna cook it on high for 6 minutes per pound. Now, I weighed my chicken, it's 4.5 pounds, so that's a little over 24 minutes. So I'm gonna put this on seal right there. It does say poultry right here. So we'll select that one and go up. 24 is for 4 pounds, and mine was a little more than that. So we will go 27 minutes and then do a 15-minute natural release at the end of this. So while this is going, you have all the time in the world to mix up a salad, do some side dishes, cook some bread, whatever it is that you wanna do with this chicken when you're done, now is the time to get working on that. And I'll see you guys in about 45 minutes. Chicken is done, so we're gonna open that up. Oh, good. I was trying to do a natural release and I got it. Your chicken should be 100% cooked, and if you want a crispy crust on the outside, like brown it, you are gonna have to stick it in the oven to broil. Just wanted to make sure you were aware of that. I'm always a fan of using the meat thermometer just to make sure that it is cooked all the way. You do need to save this. You can make a really beautiful chicken gravy, or you can freeze it and use it in your next soup or stew or whatever it is that you want to do. We're starting with 6 to 8 chicken leg quarters. Mine are already divvied up into drumsticks and thighs, but that's gonna be okay. I just needed 2 bowls instead of 1, but it's okay. We're gonna give this a quick salt and pepper on both sides before we sear the outside in our Instant Pot, which is on this saute function heating up. Do not be afraid of the pepper. The people want the pepper. My mom is like weirdly obsessed with pepper. Listen, I like pepper, but she like really likes pepper. We'll make our balsamic sauce. Start with some balsamic vinegar, 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup or so. Oh my gosh, this one has a cork. That is so fancy. And smells really good. I'm doing 1/3 cup today. 2 tablespoons of honey to make it a little bit sweet. Don't forget to drop it on the counter. I'm eyeballing the tablespoons. That's pretty close to 1, 2. 1 teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. I'll eyeball that too. 1 teaspoon of thyme, 1 teaspoon of oregano. Let's bring all that together. This is going to pour over our chicken when it is done searing. Hot Instant Pot. I'm using a 6-quart today, but this recipe can definitely be made in an 8-quart because there's so much chicken. Once your chicken's brown, dump in 1 onion and 2 tomatoes, 1/2 to 1 cup of chicken broth. Pour your sauce over the top, cover, and cook on high for 10 minutes. I have some bow tie pasta boiling up right here to serve my balsamic chicken on top of, and then you can cook whatever veggie side you want, broccoli, a bag salad for a nice quick dinner. Is it? Ah! Come on. What is taking so long? Come on. There it is. Oh, do you guys know that this lid is supposed to do this? Ta-da! So there's all my sauce and everything. So I'm going to get my pasta out of the pot and kind of pour this all over the pasta and let the pasta soak up all of this goodness.
Put your favorite music on all the way baritone. Yeah. Shut the lights, go infrared. We can spend all day in bed.
For my Instant Pot chicken fajita pasta, I have a 6-quart Instant Pot right here, and I have set it to saute. So I'm kind of waiting for this to heat up. And into it, I am going to saute some boneless, skinless chicken breast. I have diced it to like bite-sized pieces, I guess. There's no seasoning on it or anything. And I am going to saute it in here with whatever oil you want to use. This is going to end up being a lot for this 6-quart baby. You know, in retrospect, maybe I should have used the 8-quart, but whatever, we're already preheating. One little tip for me to you before we get started while I'm waiting for this is on your lid, always check your sealing ring to make sure it's actually under this lip, because I wash my lids in the dishwasher. I usually just pull this out like this and pop this off, and it runs through the dishwasher just fine. But sometimes my kids don't put it back all the way, and you will have a sealing issue, and steam will escape from this side portion, and it'll scare you to death, and you'll feel like your Instant Pot's going to explode, is if your sealing ring's not in. Ask me how I know. But if you just do a quick check, spin it all the way around, and you see that it's in there all the way, no problems. There's no reason to be scared of your Instant Pot. I have been using them for over 3 years. I have never had an explosion. I have had steam come from the side, and it's only when this sealing ring is not put back correctly. And that's the only reason. As long as it's in there, you are good to go. When your Instant Pot is ready to go, it's going to say hot, like that. We are set. Time to add the oil, and we're gonna saute our chicken until it's cooked. Put a good amount in there, because I have a lot of chicken. I have 2 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breast, diced, here it goes. And I'm gonna add half of this package of fajita seasoning. And guess what? This is not expired. I know it looks like a lot, but that's only half. I still have half of that in there. We're just gonna cook our chicken until it is no longer pink, and we'll add the rest of our ingredients. We are about there. Hopefully you can hear me over the sizzle. And it's time to add our vegetables. So I have 1 white onion diced, 2 bell peppers of your favorite color. I happen to have orange ones, so that's what I'm using today. 3 to 5 diced cloves of garlic, whatever your garlic tolerance level is. If it were my mom, it would be 0. For someone that loves to cook, it's weird to me that she doesn't like garlic, because I think it's amazing. In goes the rest of our fajita seasoning right on top of the veggies. Stir this around just until the onions get a little bit soft. And in go the rest of the ingredients. I have 1 can of, it's gonna spill as I tilt it, roasted, hang on. Fire roasted diced tomatoes. You could also use Rotel, 1 cup of chicken broth, and 8 ounces of penne pasta. So I'm only going to be using half of this container I got from Thrive Market. There we go. You could weigh it out if you want to. I just kind of eyeballed that. I just want that pasta down in there a little bit with everything so it can soak up the juices that are in here. Lid on, and we are gonna cook this on manual for about 6 minutes and then do a quick release. Make sure this is on seal. My chicken fajita pasta just beeped just now. Do a quick release. That means do this. Ah! Okay, just kidding. It's fine. This is fine. Just don't do it like by that. Okay. All right, I'll be back in a minute. After your 5 to 6 minutes on manual and then a quick release, like the screaming part, right? This is what we have. You can see that most of the liquid has been soaked up by my pasta. Now I had whole wheat pasta, which typically takes longer to cook. I would err on the side of 6 minutes, maybe let it sit in the hot liquid a little bit longer. But this is basically the completed dish. I just need to taste my pasta, make sure we're good. Because I used whole wheat instead of white pasta, we're just doing a quick tender, like, is it al dente or not? Oh, I think it's perfect. At this point, we are checking for salt and pepper seasoning. Do we need to add more? For me personally, I would add a touch more salt to this and probably some lime juice. Let's dish it up and we have dinner. This is called chicken and rice roget. It's basically a chicken and rice casserole that my grandfather put together because it was delicious and easy and cheap. My grandparents were always about the cheap meals. So let me show you what I have going on. Right here I have a 10 by 15 baking dish with 1 cup of raw rice and 1 diced onion underneath there. You literally don't do anything to it. And then you put some form of chicken on top. I have chicken thighs and drumsticks, a combo. Chicken on the bone is going to work better in this dish than boneless chicken. It just allows it to cook a little bit slower so the rice has time to cook and puff up. And next I'm going to be adding my wet ingredients. So I have 2 1/3 cup of water in this. I'm gonna add 1 can of cream of mushroom soup. It's like the only application I ever use cream of mushroom soup. 2 teaspoons of this, or 2 cubes if you have the cube kind. Mix this all together. Then it's time to pour my soupy liquid just all over all of this. Just try not to splash it on the counter. Just like that. And the last step, we'll give a generous sprinkle of your favorite Cajun seasoning. Uncle Tony's is what we use in my house. I have no idea how much that is. A teaspoon? 2 teaspoons? Hard to say. Try not to pepper spray yourself. We're gonna put that just like that in a 375-degree oven for 1 hour. Yes, it does sit for quite a long time, but it's very hands-off. So in the meantime, you can make a salad, cut up some fruit. I have some asparagus in the fridge, so I'm gonna cook those up to go as a side dish with this. In here, I have about 2.5 pounds of chicken, depending on the size of your chicken breast. That could be a couple or not very many. And we're gonna add a whole bunch of stuff. So I have 1 whole can of drained corn, 1 4-ounce can of diced green chilies, 1 diced onion and 3 cloves of garlic, 1 to 2 diced green bell peppers. You only need 14 ounces of crushed or diced tomatoes, and I only had this 28-ounce can, so we're gonna do half of this, not all of it, and I'll save the rest for later. 4 ounces of tomato paste. This is 6, so we will not use all of this. Now, I do need to add 1 can of black beans, but as it turns out, I don't have any that are cooked. So while this starts, I'm gonna run this through my Instant Pot and add it later. But if you're more prepared than me, you'll just add 1 can of drained black beans. 1 tablespoon of ground cumin. I'm gonna eyeball that because why not? That's about a tablespoon. A half a tablespoon of chili powder. 1 teaspoon of salt, that's about that much. And about 1 tablespoon of pepper. I'm sorry, teaspoon of pepper, which is about that much. I'm just gonna move this around a little bit. Remember, we are gonna add our black beans later, but we will top this with one other thing. A half a pound of shredded pepper jack cheese. Put that all over the top like this, and the lid goes on. We're gonna cook this on low for about 6 hours and then come back and shred the chicken. It is time to dig out your chicken breasts and shred them. And as you can see, this is just kind of shredding to pieces right in here in the crock pot. So honestly, I don't even have to dirty another dish to do this. And what manner of vehicle is the best one to get this delicious concoction into your mouth? The possibilities are endless. You can put it on top of a salad. It can be a rice bowl. You can put it on top of chips and create nachos out of this. Or you can do my favorite one, which is use it as a filling for burritos, which is what we are going to do tonight. And remember, everything is in here. The cheese is in here, all of the spices, all of the seasonings. Of course, you can add extra cheese if you would like to do that. We are going to attempt to make a country cassoulet. And I have my big Mama Jama 10 by 15 baking dish. I know it doesn't look big on camera, but it's significantly bigger than your standard 9 by 13. To start off, I will put in some navy beans that I cooked in my Instant Pot. I have the navy beans here that I soaked and cooked in chicken broth, so everything is going to go in the bottom of this pan. You could, of course, use canned navy beans as well, but dried are cheaper. If you use the cans, just add chicken broth at this point. If it's too much liquid, I might strain some out, but we'll kind of see as we layer everything in here. I have about 4 slices of bacon that I cooked and chopped up is going in here. You can use more bacon, I don't see anything wrong with that. 2 onions that I've diced right here. I'm trying to spread all these out as I put them in. These are about 5 carrots that they're pretty big, they're just quartered because it's gonna bake for a very long time in this liquid. I chopped up the rest of a head of celery. It wasn't that much, maybe 4 stalks and a bunch of the leaves. So those are going in too. I might definitely need to take out some of this liquid because I gotta put chicken in here next. 1 can of petite diced tomatoes. And I think I have determined that we are going to have to divvy this up into 2 pans. I also have this 3-quart, I think it's a 3-quart. What if we use a jar? And just kind of scoop a bunch of that over here like this. Otherwise my chicken and sausage there's no way it's going to fit. Okay, I have a little bit more room to work with. That is better. I'm gonna give each container a sprinkle of dried marjoram. You can, of course, cut down your amounts so it's not quite this big, but I'm trying to feed 2 families with this, which is why I have so much of it. You could obviously cut it in half to feed a family of 4 or 6. I'm trying to do 13 people here, but 2 of them are babies, so I guess you could call it 11. I'm trying to feed family of 11. So I'm just gonna give this a sprinkle over the top, like that. And I do have some dried bay leaves. This one is very big, so we're gonna do 2 in this one. 1, 2, and then 1 over in that side. You can do fresh garlic, but I have this squeezy one in my fridge, so we might as well use that one up. A little bit of sage. Sage is one of my favorite flavors, like favorite. You don't need very much, goes a long way. Now I will add my seared chicken. I took bone-in chicken thighs, but I took the skin off. I salted and peppered them and then seared them in a very large skillet with bacon fat. Just a couple of minutes per side. They are still raw. I just wanted a nice crust on the outside. And I guess I'll do maybe 2 in this little one and the rest in this big one. Oh, I should probably stir the garlic. There we go. We have 8 in that one, 2 in that one. Cover these up and bake them at 350 degrees for 1 hour, and then we are going to add sausage to it and continue to bake it. It's gonna be so good. Pick your favorite sausage. I am going with some andouille sausage today.
1 hour later.
These have been in for an hour, so I just pulled them out and added 1 pound of andouille sausage. Like I said, you can use whatever kind you want. I kind of split it between this one, and I'm so glad I put the overflow into this container because look how full this is. This would definitely have spilled in the oven. Covers back on, back in the oven for another 30 minutes or until the chicken is cooked all the way through. Here is the finished dish. Obviously, if you want more of the liquid to go away, you can take the lid off and just let it cook sans lid, but it smells amazing. My family is so excited to have this for dinner tonight. Just serve it with some crusty bread that you can dip in, kind of like a thick stew or something like that with a little bit of extra broth. This is going to be a broccoli chicken lasagna. This is not gonna be your standard lasagna. It's gonna have tons of cheese, chicken, ham, ooey gooey sauce. So I'm gonna start with my broccoli cream sauce mixture. And how did I come up with that, you ask? I am happy to tell you. Over on my skillet, I sauteed an onion in some butter. Once that was soft, I added flour, salt, and pepper, whisked that together until it cooked a little bit. Then I added milk and chicken broth, stirred that together until it thickened up, and then added Parmesan cheese and frozen broccoli. Boom, there you go. And that is the first thing I am putting in my casserole dish, just to kind of have the noodles sit on something. And because this is your main sauce, make sure you taste it for salt and pepper before you start using it. Wow, that is really good. We are not using any canned cream of anything in this recipe. Please try and make this sauce from scratch. It is so much more delicious, I promise you. Next up, I have 3 of your just dried lasagna noodles. And no, I am not cooking these. I have never cooked, like pre-cooked lasagna noodles ever in my life. I think I'm gonna do a little like that. What do you think about that? All right, here comes a nice bit of our sauce, about 1/3 of it. Spread that out a little bit. And then on top of this, we are going to put some diced ham. I just bought the pre-diced ham. So I have about half of this going in. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. 1 cup of Monterey Jack cheese. I'm gonna call 1 handful 1 cup, just like this. 3 more noodles. Okay, how did I do it the first time? I wanna do it opposite. I think I started there, so we'll go this way this time. Let me check the underside. Okay, I can't tell. I don't know. Another 1/3 of the remaining, or half, I guess, of the remaining sauce. Spread that out. 2 cups of cooked chicken. You could use a rotisserie chicken that you debone. You could cook it in your Instant Pot. You can do whatever. It's just 2 cups of cooked chicken, however you want to get it there. About 1/2 cup of the cheese this time. 3 more noodles. Almost the rest of our ham here. Let's go ahead and use it all. Who doesn't love ham? Like, no one in my family. Actually, I think my sister doesn't like ham, but that's okay. She won't be eating this. The rest of our sauce. 2 steps left. Number 1, you're gonna kind of see how much sauce you have. Now, when I make a lasagna and I don't cook the noodles, I try and put extra sauce on top. And if it looks a touch dry to you, don't be scared to add a little bit of water along the outside that will bubble up and cook the noodles as it cooks in the oven. I've been doing this for like 20 years, so don't be scared. It is okay. So I'm just gonna go along the outside and add a little bit until I maybe added half a cup of water. Now we'll cover this with some foil. Bake it 350 degrees for about 50 minutes, and then we'll top it with more cheese. I let this run for an hour just to give the noodles a little bit more time to cook. Now we'll take the rest of our cheese. I mean, we might as well just top all of it, right? Like, just use the rest. There we go. And we'll put it back in, not covered. So leave this off for another 5 minutes just to get the cheese a little bubbly, and then we're good to go.
A few moments later.
The cheese is all melty. Now it's time to let it sit for about 15 minutes, let it cool down enough to where we can actually eat it. Doesn't that look amazing? And I know it's gonna taste good because I already tasted the sauce and it was delicious. I've never been a fan of chicken salad sandwiches, but a hot chicken salad sandwich with some delicious ingredients, I think I can get behind. In a large bowl, we are going to put 2 to 2.5 cups of cooked, shredded, diced chicken, however you wanna do it. I cooked mine in an Instant Pot and then cut it up. I just found it super easy that way. 1 cup of diced celery, however small or big you like it. And I also have in here, you can't see it, kind of juiced onion, like a tablespoon of juiced onion. I did it on my microplane. So you get the flavor of onion without like the huge chunks of raw onion, which, yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that. 2 cups of cooked rice. This is a jasmine rice that we had for dinner last night. And I always try and make extra rice because it is a great leftover and I can meal prep with it really, really easily. And you can always make stir fry. So I'm trying to, 2 cups of cooked rice. 1 can of drained water chestnuts. 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. That might be a little more than a teaspoon, but that's okay. Lemon's good. 1/2 teaspoon of crushed rosemary. And I will eyeball this. That's about 1/2 teaspoon. A little sprinkle of pepper. Go as easy or as heavy as you like on pepper. We like pepper. About 3/4 of a cup of mayo. And 1 can of cream of chicken. I know, right? Stir all this together and then we will put it in a 2-quart casserole dish. Isn't this one cute? I borrowed it from my mom because I don't have a 2-quart one. At least I don't think I do. Anyway, dump your entire mixture in here, and then you do have a couple of options as far as the topping goes. You could do nothing, okay? Or you can toast up some almonds in a skillet and put those on top. But what I'm gonna do is like the standard casserole topping. You're gonna love this. You will love it. Look at that, fits perfectly in a 2-quart. Oh yeah, we're doing crunched up cornflakes. I don't know why it works so well in a casserole. It just does. Don't ask me why, it's just science. So we'll set this to the side and get a little Ziploc baggie. This is the best way to crunch up your cornflakes. Here's what you do. Get out all of your aggressions. In fact, you could even get something bigger. Oh. If you're upset, just imagine that's like whoever's face you're mad at. Sometimes it just feels good to hit something. I mean, frying pans, who knew, right?
Frying pans, who knew, right?
Back to our casserole, and we're gonna take our cornflakes and give it a little, like, it just gives it this crunch that's so nice. And because we didn't get frosted flakes, don't make that mistake, you know, it's not gonna be weirdly sweet. It's gonna be savory. There we go. We're gonna bake uncovered at 350 degrees for about 35 minutes.
Eventually.
Here's the hot chicken salad. Can you hear that? So now, obviously, you can eat it with crackers, you can put it on top of rice, or like normal, you can put it on rolls, some toast. You know, you could do like toasted bread for a sandwich. However you normally like to eat chicken salad, do it with this hot chicken salad. Tonight's dinner, I'm gonna clean out the freezer a little bit and do this crock pot Latin chicken that I made in my last freezer meal prep video. We're looking at about 2 pounds of chicken. Notice I'm not chopping this or anything like that, because when it comes time to actually cook it, it will then become shreddable. Some red bell peppers from my garden, some green bell peppers, about a half a cup of chicken broth, onion powder or minced onion, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder each, some cumin again, 2 teaspoons each, half a teaspoon of salt, and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. The equivalent of 1 can of black beans each. So it's been sitting out for like an hour or 2. So I can pour it out of the bag basically, but I'm just gonna dump it in the crock pot, add like a cup of water because I did put some chicken bouillon in here. And instead of on low, I'm just gonna put it on high just to get it going quicker. So let's do that right now. Doesn't look like that much food, does it? Maybe this crock pot's too big for that. It'll be fine. That's my motto for everything. That's my motto for life. Don't look at me, my hair's not done. Alrighty, here we go. Got a little bit of water going on. Lid, and plug it in, baby. Here is my Latin chicken all cooked. I took the chicken out and just chunked it up and put it back in here. We're serving it with rice and then lettuce, sour cream. This is sheet pan sweet and sour chicken from Budget Bites. So you know it's going to be a budget dinner. I'm using 2 sheet pans here because you don't want anything like on top of each other, if that makes sense. I'm gonna try and divvy up all my stuff equally. So I have this huge bowl of red and green bell peppers, onion, and a little bit of the white part of a green onion. Half there, half there. Let's kind of do this business. And then we're gonna add the chicken. I do have 3 chicken breasts that I cut into like cubes. I'm just eyeballing it. I feel like the quantity I'm doing would not fit on 1 cookie sheet. And because I am using 2, I set my oven to convection, 400 degrees on convection. So the air should blow evenly across the whole thing. Okay, there is all the chicken. And then we're gonna add 1 can of pineapple. And I was supposed to use pineapple chunks, but I have this one in my pantry that I'm just gonna try and drain it the best I can and use this one. Okay, I did get most of that out, so I'm gonna try and just sprinkle that. I know it's supposed to be chunks. You know, it's the same idea, it's pineapple. You guys like canned pineapple or no? I don't mind it. I grew up eating canned pineapple, but the time I had fresh pineapple for the first time, I was 19 years old, and I was like, what is this magic? It was so delicious. Now we're gonna season everything. Of course, we're gonna add our olive oil. Whoops. I went a little heavy there. A little drizzle of that, or a glob of that, whatever. Some garlic powder, just however much you like. If you love garlic powder, you can go a little bit heavy. Dave likes it, we'll go a little bit heavy. Some ground ginger. That might be a little too much, but it's okay. Ground ginger is good too. Salt and pepper to taste, which means lots of fresh pepper.
The people, they want the pepper.
All right, and salt for the win. These are going to bake for about 40 minutes in the oven, and while that's going, we'll mix up a sauce. We are going to put into this mixing bowl about a 1/4 cup of ketchup, which is about that. 1/3 of a cup of rice vinegar, 1.5 tablespoons of soy sauce, or I'm gonna use these coconut aminos because I have them in my cabinet. Basically the same thing. 1.5 tablespoons of cornstarch, and the rest of your pineapple juice that you reserved. Mix it up right nice. And you can either cook this in the microwave or on the saucepan, on the stove, whatever you want to do. I'm feeling like the microwave is the way to go because I just don't want to turn on the stove. And I already have everything in this mixing bowl. So I'm gonna stick it in the microwave until it like gets a little bit thick. So we'll start out with 1.5 minutes, stir it and see what it looks like. What? Steam up the we're about ready to steam up the camera. Let's check that chicken. I just wanna make sure the chicken is cooked all the way through. It feels pretty solid, so I'd say we are there. Let's pull these out. That is all she wrote, and if you're wondering why it's in this foil pan, it's because I'm actually taking this over to a neighbor for their family for dinner tonight. If you're making it for yourself, go ahead and cook up some rice, serve it on top of some rice. Oh, don't forget, sprinkle it with the green onions. I'm just taking this over with some Instant Pot rice to my neighbor. Go make it. After I have all my veggies and chicken on my sheet pan, you know, you can use whatever veggies you want. You can use spicy peppers. You don't have to use as much onion. It's whatever. You could do steak or pork or anything. I am going to drizzle with some extra virgin olive oil. Sprinkle my Thrive Market Fajita seasoning mix. Okay, I'm having a really hard time opening that. And I am going to juice and squeeze a couple of limes on here and mix all this up. Time to pick your tortilla. I have these street tacos. Dave tells me to stop buying them because they're too small to fit anything on. So I think we're gonna use these up first. And if I get through these, I'll switch over to the corn tortillas. Make sure you heat these up on a skillet or over a fire so they're a little bit more pliable and cooked, I guess. We're just trying to get these out of my bread cabinet today because I already had them. So street taco tortillas it is. And come on, they're so dang cute, right? This rosemary chicken and potatoes, we will start with our sauce or dressing. And I'm going to put in some fresh rosemary and thyme that I diced up, about 1 tablespoon each. I'm telling you, there is nothing better than fresh rosemary. It's one of my favorite things. A good amount of garlic. I'm gonna go about maybe 1 tablespoon of this squeezy tube because it's so easy. I have the zest of 1 lemon, the juice of 2 lemons, a good drizzle of olive oil here, salt and pepper. So I just have some fresh ground black pepper right here and a good amount of salt because I have a good amount of food and we wanna make sure everything is salted well. All right, let's assemble our sheet pan. Okay, I have 4 chicken breasts. These are pretty large. So I'm trying to figure out the best way to spread these out. I don't know, something like that. Maybe on the edges, so I put my veggies in the middle. I don't really know. It probably doesn't matter. I have 1 pound of fresh green beans, edges trimmed off, but other than that, nothing's been done to those. And 1.5 pounds of baby red potatoes. And my mixture that I made before is going over everything. The chicken, the potatoes, the green beans, and I like to add a few more sprigs of rosemary, like this. I wanna make sure everything is coated well. I'll do another drizzle of salt on my potatoes, green beans, and chicken just to make sure everything has enough. If you ever find that your food tastes bland, it's because you need some more salt and pepper. And lastly, let's do a few lemon slices all over the top like this. And we're gonna put this in a 400 degree oven for about 30 minutes until everything is cooked. It's kind of beautiful, isn't it? My chicken and potatoes need just a few more minutes. I tried to poke into some of these bigger ones and they are almost there. They're just a little bit more. So I covered up my green beans with just a little bit of piece of foil so they don't dry out or burn. And we'll stick this back in for another 10 minutes. Rosemary chicken with potatoes and green beans. In my opinion, you cannot go wrong with any of those items. So thanks so much for hanging out with me today on today's Chicken Palooza, and I'll see you in the next video.